All right, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us here today to talk about the isolation economy and the COVID-19 budget and legal bill for the entertainment and events industry. So let's get started. So first thing first, always have to give you guys a safe harbor statement. As much as I try to be as accurate as possible, all of this information are meant for education and learning purpose only. Please do not use any of my sharing as a modus operandi to make a business decision. Please always consult independent legal and accounting advice. And of course, I try my best to make sure the information is correct, but you guys still need to seek your own advice before proceeding. So my name is Ivan Chang. I am actually a faculty with Singapore Management University, but also in my tech time, I serve as a board member for SG Tech. What is SG Tech? SG Tech is the trade association for the Singapore companies. We represent ICT company, and I think this is the time that we really want to step up and help other people in different industry go through this. I think this is my 8th webinar for different industries, so bear with me as we go through it. All right. So we have launched this thing called the isolation economy. You can go to the website at isolation.sg. This collects all the information that you see today. You can go through all the past webinar. You can go through different courses we offer, and also a list of different solutions for ICT that ICT vendors have offered, meaning computer software they have offered for different industries. All right, all of them available at the website. Now, after you close this webinar later, we will send you automatically a link to do this industry survey. Please help us help all the SMEs in Singapore by giving us your thoughts, all right? We really hope you guys can help us fill out this survey because we're stronger together. The government is actively collecting a lot of feedback. By you helping us fill out this survey, we are able to better tailor and give recommendations. So please help us do the survey. Okay, so let's go through some house rule first. There are a few things going on today. There is a slide. So this slide that I'm using now will be available for download about 2 hours later. Just go and check it out. You will also receive an email about this about 2 hours later. This webinar is also recorded. You can always view the playback later, and there will be a Q&A session conducted later. So on your Zoom account, you should be able to see this button called Q&A. Please click on it and feel free to answer and type in questions there, all right? I will be answering the question at the end of the session. So type your questions in the Q&A section. Okay, so a few things we need to go through. We'll go through quite fast. First thing first, an understanding of COVID-19, the budget, other measures to support you guys, and the legal bill related to the entertainment industry. So let's get started. So I think before we even talk about why this and why that, it serves our interest to understand how COVID-19 has impacted our economy and our industry. So Singapore started the year expecting, just at the start of the year, we were still expecting, at the start of the year, we were still expecting a positive amount of growth, okay? This was just at the start of the year. But today, we are now estimating 4%. And this is even before the circuit breaker. So I think, globally speaking, we are going to be in for a very, very rough time. The economy will shrink, and I think you guys already sense and feel it among every other industry, okay? The last recession we had was not during SARS, was also not during the global financial crisis. Singapore had not had a recession since a decade ago. This will also be the worst recession since our independence. It's a very, very big situation for all of us here today in Singapore. So why do you feel that COVID-19 is different? Let's go through a quick economics of it, right? COVID-19 is different from any other recession because it is not a supply side issue. Now, a housing bubble, a financial bubble, traditionally speaking, they are what we call a supply side attack. See, when the bubble forms and people run out of money, the supply shrinks because people don't spend enough. So that's it. Traditionally speaking, in a recession, the demand stays the same, but you have the same set of supply, just that the supply shrink. So this is why the economy goes into retardation. But today in COVID-19 is non-stop processes. The supply shrink, but because the demand also shrinks, the economy keeps going in a backward cycle. Why does the economy demand shrink? Because of the fact that we are facing an unprecedented crisis. Now, in the past, supply shrink because workers get laid off, so therefore total supplies drop. But today, in the COVID era, right, what happens is that it's creating non-stop cycle. The supply shrink, household shrinks, the supply shrink, demand shrink. So it keeps causing a retardation. This is not simply a supply side shock, but this is a whole attack of the market itself. I want to stress again, this is a fundamental attack on the market itself. The whole market is no longer functioning. The basis of our world economic system is no longer functioning as it is. It's not even a bubble. Traditional recession in the last 2 decades have always been bubble. Financial crisis, unpaid mortgages, they were all bubble. Today, the market can no longer allocate efficiently. Just a simple thing, your face mask, right? Traditionally speaking, face masks, you go to the cheapest country, but countries are stopping the export of face masks from going out of the country. So the whole economic system, the globalization model that we rely on, is now being attacked. We have already lost all of this great part. The goal now is to stop the loss because the economy has already shrunk so much already. But if we continue attacking the market this way, the traditional idea of economics probably will not be able to sustain us anymore. So this is different in SARS for 2 reasons. First thing first, SARS, if you guys have like me, short memory, SARS, you see, it was really just concentrated around here. Everything else around the world was not affected. But today, COVID-19, the whole world is affected. Is that the scale of impact between now and SARS completely different. As well, is because of China. How big is China now? China is now 4x bigger than when we were in SARS. We were in SARS in 02, 03. Everything in the China, share of economy, share of export, manufacturing, and even tourism, China since 2002, in 15 years, grew by 4x. So our economy is bigger, yes. We are getting more money than ever before. But the reason for that is because of the power of China rise. So today the reason why we feel more pain than during the SARS crisis was because how important China is. Just look at Singapore, right? 20% of our tourism arrival are from the Chinese customer, but they spend 40% of our tourist spending. This is how important the Chinese consumer is. And also one reason why, for those of you who operate regionally, one of the only countries with a bright spot is actually Vietnam. I cannot comment on whether they're controlling the situation well, but the Vietnamese economy is still going on as per normal by and large because of the fact that their reliance on China is a disproportionate curve. Every country relies on China tourists more than their arrival thing. But the Vietnam side has an inverse curve. One key reason is also because a lot of the Vietnamese Chinese people there are actually workers in the construction industry, or they are just staying there. So the impact for Vietnam is not so big compared to Singapore and other the world. So this number is no longer valid. Today, 1 in 5 people around the world are basically confined to a home. Working from home is a new reality. But not every one of us have the benefit of working from home. I want to point out something very interesting is that the higher pay your salary is, the more you have the chance to work from home. I think at the events industry, you guys use a lot of freelancers and you realize that they probably form this whole percentile and their work emceeing things like setting up lights just cannot be done at home. Like, it's not a physical thing. And I think this is going to create even more polarizing situation in Singapore because of this. So at the top, right, all of these people, the professional service, they can all work from home. But the service sector, see this big gap here. They just cannot move their work to home. So it's going to cause an even more gap in the economic cycle itself. I always want to say that all the time, economy will rebound. The $1 million is why. Okay, like we will get through COVID-19. Is why. Traditionally speaking, it's what I call the U-shaped curve. Every single month that we spend in the crisis is the amount of time the economy needs to go back to normal. So China is about December, January, February, March, 4 months, right? Therefore, March, April, May, June, you can see a Chinese rebound in about June. Are we seeing that already? Yes, we are seeing that in the Chinese economic pattern already. They are actually seeing a small rebound. How about Singapore? There is no way to make an estimation in Singapore, but drawing this same curve model, right? Today we are in May, we are in 4 months, in 5. Let's say we take 6 months, okay? All the way till June, we are in some form of economist isolation. That means that your economy will not even reach the same pattern until December. So basically the whole year 2020 is practically done for the year. This U-shaped thing has been traditional of all time, like SARS, swine flu, and MERS. So the worst thing is this though, the longer we are in a recession, the harder is it for us to bounce back because we already lost all of this financial ability. All of this is now gone. All the revenue that you can make is now all gone due to the fact that we are in a crisis. So comparing, last few slides, comparing why we're different from all the other times is this: SARS and MERS, the Middle Eastern respiratory crisis, they are very deadly, more deadly than us, but not spreadable. Like it was very hard to actually contract SARS. Swine flu, H1N1, tons of people affected, but it was like a common flu, not deadly at all. So actually people really forgot about this swine flu thing already. Ebola in Africa, very severe, very deadly, but super hard. You need to have saliva to be infected, like literally transfer of fluid, not just sneezing. So where is COVID-19? COVID-19 is the perfect storm. It is very spreadable, it is more severe. Thank God it's not more severe than Ebola, but it's also very easy to contract. So this is why we have a perfect storm brewing with COVID-19. It was a perfect storm of all global pandemic. It is comparable to all the other pandemics we have. This was something very special and very unique. Okay, so how do you survive in this crisis? We have a very simple framework. Today, your goal now is to think about survival. The next 6 to 18 months, how can you survive? Then, when you can find a way to survive your business, sometimes, by the way, it might make sense to just close it down. Once you can find a way to survive, it's about taking advantage or adapting to that situation. The 18 months that you have in this situation, how can you adapt? And last but not least, of course, you can resume your business. The world will eventually recover, but it's about that. I read a report today that Disneyland will only be open next year. That's a very, very scary thought itself. So let's move on to the next part. Let's talk about the budget and the financial measures. I always thought it's good, majority of us here are Singaporeans. I thought it's a very good time to, of course, get a sharing about how the budget is done. Okay, before every single term of government, and we started in 2015, right? The government must be able to balance the budget, meaning they cannot spend more than they have in the single term. So the term will end in 2021. So within the 5 years, right, we were before COVID-19 had a surplus of about 7 to 11 billion. Why I put about? Because the numbers sometimes go all over the place. So the government was very happy, right? This term of government, even though we spend so much money on Merdeka, we spend so much money on healthcare, and transportation, we actually had a lot of surplus. Then, bam, COVID hit. So this $11 billion of surplus in the current term is not enough. We have to go into our reserve. When did we go into the reserve? We did not use the reserve during the SARS crisis. The SARS crisis was only $230 million in support packages. Actually, SARS was over and done in 4 months. It was a very, very small crisis in the life scale of Singapore. All right, where we take our budget, our reserve, was during the bank, during the 2008 crisis, when there was massive job layoff in 2009. We took 4.9 billion, but you know what? We returned. So the government was expecting to return this 7 to 11 billion dollars in surplus to the budget after this term of government. But unfortunately, bam, COVID happened, and this is an unprecedented time in the design of the budget. So where we're seeing the budget now is this, okay? The first one that our government announced was a unity budget. This was in February. They gave 5.6 billion for COVID crisis. Okay, next, they then take the resilient budget. All right, in March, they gave 48. Now, actually, not all are transferred. 20 billion is what I call loan backing. Loan backing means that they take the Temasek assets and GIC assets and tell the bank that this is how we can continue lending money because we have assets to sell. And of course, in April, there was a solidarity budget, which was to survive this circuit breaker. Okay, it was a survival of circuit breaker. I want to point out that Minister Heng Swee Keat announced each time that there will be more measures if need be. At this point, after the solidarity budget, he did not say that. So Singaporeans expecting more budget measures after solidarity budget should not expect that. If we enter a circuit breakdown for another 1 month, for example, do not expect the government to continue giving more money to support the staff salary, for the plain reason that funds are tight as well, I guess. So how much have we drawn? We took the $11 billion in current government surplus, and then we asked the reserve for another we asked the reserve for another $21 billion in total for COVID-19. We're taking 21 billion. In the history of our Singapore nation, we never take so much before. We're taking 21 billion or 50 years of reserve to pay for this. And this $21 billion, majority of it goes to pay and support employees so that the companies keep jobs, some for freelancers, and a bit more for paying out to the Singaporeans here. So very, very drastic measures indeed to use our reserve. Okay, so now let's go through all the different things the government is doing to help companies in the events industry to survive in this crisis. Okay, Those in blue are those that was previously announced. Those in red were part of the newest budget. So let's go through each of them one by one and systematically. Okay, so first thing first, everyone's get 25% cash grant on gross monthly income up to 4,600. There are 3 periods involved. October to December, you cannot do anything already. It's done. You guys should have already received the first check from the job support scheme. The next one is February to April, and the third one is May to July. Now, February, March will be 25%, and April will be about 75%. I use 75% because there's a bit more calculation involved to calculate 75, but by and large, you can treat it as this. So this was a special time. So therefore, if you have an employee making at the top salary of 4,600, the maximum payout you can expect is about $12,600 event. So when are you getting this money for the job support scheme? That's the $1 million question, right? The first payment has been paid out already, so it's done. Nothing is done already. You guys should receive it via Gyro or via PayNow. The next one, which is for the month of February, March, April, will be in July, and the next one will be May, June, July will be in October. This will be where you need to look at your cash flow and plan it as such when the government gives out the job support scheme. There's nothing for you to apply. There's also no ability for you to appeal to IRAS about this. Okay, so are you guys under this sector? I have checked with Singapore Tourism Board. Of course, you guys are not under the airline sector, but for companies that are events and entertainment, they require special approval by STB to be considered under this area here for full 75%. That means that for food service sector, they get it for every month at 50 and 75%. Now, this one needs STB for qualification. If you guys need, I suggest you guys to email STB and ask for qualification exemptions. Okay, so this is where the industry is at now. Who do not qualify for the JSS? I want to point out to you guys, sole proprietors do not qualify for the job support scheme. Okay, if you are sole proprietor, you are a partnership, and if you are employee who are both shareholder and the director of the company, you do not qualify. The combination is this: you are employee and you own one share, like your company, you give employee some stock option. Do you qualify for JSS? Yes. You are a director of a company, but you have no share in the company. Do you qualify for JSS? Yes. Okay. So these are the two situations. It's only when you're the own tauke, meaning you have the shareholder and director of the company, you do not qualify for the job support scheme. Okay. So this is of course a fundamental policy that the government has to introduce for everyone. The next one is then the wage credit scheme. The wage credit scheme is if you guys want to increase your staff salary this year. Okay. So this year, any increase in staff salary, they will pay you 15%, okay, up to 5,000. So let's say you have a boy called Ameng, right? Ameng here, and his salary today, last year is 1,000, okay, and today you pay him $2,000. The government of Singapore will pay 15% of the $1,000 that you increase his salary for however months you employ him for. This is a good scheme if you're thinking about paying staff salary more. There is no need to apply, it's auto-calculated. This scheme, I suggest your finance and HR team to have an Excel sheet to track if you pay increase. Why? Because it's always full of calculation issue. Because CPF record sometimes is not perfect. How do you consider an employee? As long as your freelancers you have, you pay him CPF in 2019 for 3 months, and you hire him this year for 3 months, you consider yourself. So let's say you hire Ameng last year for 3 months, and you hire Ameng this year for 10 months. You will get 15% of the increase for 10 months this year. Okay, this is how they qualify as who hire who last year and this year. Okay, detailed calculation in the slides. Please welcome you guys to ask me questions if you guys need me to. So what happened is that the government of Singapore for last year 2019 already give you guys a check already. It's already paid out, but they're giving an additional 5%. So let's say you go from 2018, meaning the year, to 2019 with a wage increase for your employees, you get 15% already. This has been paid. Okay. Now the government has announced a special budget for additional 5% will be paid by 30th June. But this is for 2018 to 2019. You cannot do anything already. It's done. All right. It's based on your past. So just expect yourself to receive a special check in June 30th, 2020 for another 5%. It's not going to be a lot, but at least it's some form of supporting mechanism. Okay. Now let's talk about the loans available to a lot of firms. There are 3 primary ways the government of Singapore give out loans. Okay. and support the banking sector for loan. The first one, most common, is what I call the WC loan or the working capital loan. Okay, the government has changed the quantum to 1 million. Can the bank give more than 1 million? Yes, they can. What the government means when they say that they increase the share of risk is this. Let's say you take 1 million and you default, your company go bankruptcy. The government will give the bank 90% of the $1 million straight away. Will the bank still chase you for money? Yes. The bank will still chase you for money as a personal guarantee. And when they finally recoup back the money, they will give back to the government of Singapore. So it's a very convoluted scheme to increase capital. Will the bank give you 1 million? Very unlikely. Okay, the quantum has increased, but the bank hardly gave $1 million. Okay, so what you do? I've talked to different bankers, right? If you are already on some form of working capital loan, talk to your banker. Ask them about giving you additional credit line. You might not need to use it, but at least you have it. Okay, next one is then if you not ask for assessment today. Now, today, a lot of you guys will be using the working capital loan. Traditionally speaking, the interest rate is a flat 5 to 7% for working capital. I've heard Maybank and DBS giving about 2.5 all the way to 3% point. Okay, this is a significant drop in working capital loan. What does this mean for you? It means that if you can now go to a different bank, ask them to assess your working capital loan, and if the working capital loan is lower percentage here, take this to pay off the old one because it's about saving money now. It makes sense to do this, okay? So if you don't ask for additional line of credit, ask another bank to give you assessment and use this money to pay off your previous loan. Try to de-risk yourself and make sure that you have the cheapest form of capital possible. Majority of you, once again, will be the working capital loan. Now, there is a special bridging sector loan. Okay, the government specially announced initially was for tourism industry. Now it's open to all sector. Up to $5 million, they will back it up. Now, who applies for this loan tend to be the bigger firms. I'll give you the criteria of them later. Okay, and last but not least, we have the enterprise trade loan. These are for the largest company. I shall not go through in detail, but basically, if your revenue is below 25 mil, this doesn't apply to you. Okay, so look at this now. Basically, if your firm has revenue about 5 mil, you'll be going for the working capital loan. Your firm has revenue from 5 to 25, you'll go for the temporary bridging loan. You cannot take both of them. Usually, the bank will not give you both. They will ask you to take the most optimal costing one. The working capital loan is still the most optimal cost one because of the interest rate. Okay, so this is the loans available for you to support it. I'll cover the legal ramification of loans later. Now, corporate income tax will be given a relief. This is nothing you can do already. This is for the year of assessment 2020, meaning for FY 2019. Now, if you are preparing your tax now, the government will give you a 25% discount on the money you make last year. When is it due? 30th November. So nothing much to worry about. It's just about cost saving. No real money to SME customer. But you should have received this. For taxation for the year 2018, meaning the money you make 2018, you'll realize that payment has been deferred all the way till July to September. All right, meaning from this month onward, if you're on the GIRO scheme, the government is not collecting for you any form of salary or any form of income tax in the last few months of the year of this year itself. Okay, if you are in the event and entertainment industry and you really cannot even pay this income tax, I strongly recommend today to now call IRAS. IRAS has indicated that for companies that really can't even afford to pay the monthly income tax, you can call them and ask for a 1-year deferment. Okay, 1-year deferment. Call them, no harm asking. Ask them to help you with this time because events and entertainment industry severely affected by this situation here. Okay, rental. If you guys are on different property rental, I will not go through this. Majority of you are not, and you should already receive this. But let's talk about this. Let's talk about if you are in a commercial property. Let's say you guys are all, of course, in the commercial side, right? A lot of you are officers and non-MICE, right? Your landlord by law is now mandated to give you the 30% property tax rebate. How much is it? Very simple. You take the annual value of the property times the property tax rate. How to calculate the annual value? Very simple. Go to IRAS website and pay $2.50 and you get the property value. How to calculate the property tax rate is free. Okay, so straight away, I give you an example. A typical shop house in Boat Quay. The annual value is assessed at shop house. Typically speaking, is 100K. Now, the shop house at the first floor is used for shops and restaurants. Therefore, the property tax rate is at 10%. Okay, therefore equals to the landlord is going to pay 10K less in property tax. All right, this 10K they must give it to you. All right, by law. So make sure that they mandate this. It's good to calculate your own value first so that you'll be able to better negotiate with your landlord. I strongly recommend you to ask your landlord for more discount because of the COVID-19 situation. Okay, last, government fees and charges will also not increase this year. A lot of people misread this, including myself. It's freeze in increase, yeah. It is not no increase, The government has decided, the government has decided not to increase the fees, but they will still charge you fees. What are fees? Things like school fees, things like property assessment. For those of you operating food and beverage outlet, the Singapore food and beverage, SBA, the food license, they will still be charged. Just that there will be no inflationary increase this year. You will still pay the fees this year. All right. Now, next one, let's talk about the grants available. There are a few grants available in this point in time. The first one that's most famous is called the Productivity Solution Grant. Okay, so every PSG grant today go up from 70 to 80%, and these are the scope. The government now also include laptops in the Productivity Solution Grant. How long does it take to apply? 3 weeks. That means that if you want a grant available, it takes you 3 weeks to be able to get the solution out and running. Okay, it's a bit of time. And then do you need to pay everything first? Yes, you did too. I'll give you a work example here. Let's say the work example here is the PSG grant is, let's say you want to buy a laptop, and the laptop is 4,500. The PSG will cover 80%. You still need to pay 4,500 first, so you pay 4,500, you get back 80% times 4,500 later. All right. And how long it takes to get back? About 6 weeks. Okay, so here is 3 weeks to apply. And you take 6 weeks to get back your funds. All right, it takes a while, but it's one of the good grants available for the industry. So how do you need to apply this? Very simple. Just apply on the website. I'll talk about that later. Okay. For you guys thinking about increasing your productivity, if you have the ability to, of course, it's a good time now to talk about the Enterprise Development Grant. This helps you expand your productivity or do branding and other stuff, but it's all reimbursement basis. Because you guys are the most affected, it's likely that the Enterprise Singapore will give you at 90% of the examples. So they'll give you a support of up to 90%. Okay, so something for you guys to consider. Now, let's talk about foreign workers levy. For those of you who hire foreign workers, this month there will be no collection of the foreign workers levy for work permit and S-Pass holder. In fact, as long as you have some form of workers, everyone that you pay in January, February, or March in this year, you will get back a rebate of $750 each. Okay, the JSS job support scheme only applies to Singaporean and Singaporean PR. This is this. As long as you have one foreign worker in your company, you get $750 per each of them for work permit and S-Pass. You'll be paid out soon. Based on my checking, it's not out yet. It's probably by the end of the month. Okay. Now, you guys asked me about absentee payroll, so let's talk about it. So for some SkillsFuture courses, right, this is how it works. I want to give you guys an example of some form of absentee payroll. Can you make money from this? Probably not. It's very tough to make money from this. It just helps you offset some of the payroll and bring them for training. Okay, I'll give you an example. All of you are SME, so each of the courses by SkillsFuture will probably cost you about $193. You pay cash upfront, $193.60 for 15 hours course by SkillsFuture Singapore. Now, because you guys are SME, you guys are SME, right? Look at this bracket. For every hour that you attend, the company gets $7.50 back. Okay, so putting it all together into an example here, this is how it will look like. Okay, basically the course fee is $100. This is including your own employees. The course fee is $193. You get absentee payroll of $112. You therefore pay amount $81.10. Okay, you still pay, just that it helps cover some of the salary. You still have to pay something out of your pocket. Right, it still costs $81 eventually. Now, for certain industry, the government of Singapore is going to give you $10 absentee payroll. Now, this $10 is, I know a lot of people say it's easy, right? But based on the current reading, right, it's very hard to qualify. So I will not put your hope on this. Okay, it's not so easy to qualify. Try not to put your hope on this. Only for certain industries only. Okay, how about if your freelancers want to go for a course? Can your freelancers that you work with go? Yes, NTUC will give them, oh gosh, sorry, keep jumping around the slide. NTUC will give them $8.50 back. Okay, they still have to pay something, but they get $8.50. So SME, once again, $7.50. And if you are freelance, meaning you don't work for anyone, you get $8.50. So an example here, telling my own Koyo here, is the SMU Academy Surviving and Thriving in the Isolation Economy. We're having, some of you guys are really signing up for the program. I want to let you guys know that Sharon will be contacting you soon to talk about the new dates because we have to do some adjustment. These are all done digitally. It's upcoming. It's in the afternoon so that you guys can send your employees here for. It's basically for the events and entertainment industry. The run is continue and confirmed. We cannot wait to proceed. So we're going to cover 4 areas. How to look at your situation. I know a lot of you guys are struggling with digitalization. We'll talk about digitalization here. We talk about how to take advantage of the situation here, and we can go through more details about financial and assessing the situation. Overall good cost, and once again, the net cost about $80 or $40 after all the absentee payroll, something to occupy our time and to upskill your workers. For those of you interested, we'll send you the link later. Do sign up and help us help everyone in the industry go through this time together. All right, surviving and thriving in the isolation economy, business model for the events and entertainment industry. Now, 2 more parts in my sharing today. We're keeping good timing. I want to go through the next part here. The next part is other things that the government has already announced that was not part of COVID-19 but might be relevant for you guys. For those of you continuing thinking of expansion, the government will increase the double taxation advantage for everyone. That means that for every dollar you spend going overseas, they will give you additional subsidies to support yourself. Of course, now is not a good time to talk about going overseas, so I will quickly not go through this in detail. All right. Let's talk about the MRA grant. The MRA grant has been extended. This is the Market Readiness Access Grant. So this is your first step to go internationalize. Let's say you're an events company and you're thinking about setting up an overseas office, right? The MRA grant has now been changed to $100,000 per market, okay? And it includes payroll support. This is a lot of money. Therefore, you can go to say open an office in Indonesia, or say Vietnam or Jakarta or China, anywhere in the world. And then look at this and how you see you take advantage of the situation whereby by setting up an overseas office and sending someone there, you get 70% of the salary covered by the government for up to 3 years. Okay. Another program they're going to do is more training. I shall skip through this so that because it's not really relevant for you guys. I want to talk about the Skills Future Enterprise Credit Program. This is SFEC. It is already using it. So don't worry about October. They have accelerated it now. You can start using it. So what happens is this. Okay, I'll give you an example. Every company is going to receive $10,000 in Skills Future Enterprise Credit support. Now, there are a few areas that they can cover. They can cover the MRA, which is for you to go overseas. They can cover the Productivity Solution Grant. And for the tourism industry, it covers you the Business Improvement Grant from STB itself. So let me give you a work example. Let's say you are going to go to Vietnam. And the Vietnam project costs 100K, meaning you're going to pay salaries of 100K to Vietnamese, to Singaporeans you're going to post overseas, right? So 100K there. Now, the initial MRA subsidies is $70,000 already. So therefore, your net cost become 30K. You can then further claim from SFEC another 7,000. I know you're 10,000, but there's a cap per project. Therefore, your final cost go from 100K to $23,000. It's a very, very big job. Let me use a more simple. Let's say about a laptop. Your laptop costs $4,500. Now the PSG grant is at 80% today already. Therefore, your net cost equals to $2,468, $500. Quite cheap already, right? You can further use SFEC to pay 90% of the further 500. Therefore, net cost equals to $100. Is it $100? 10, 20, no, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, sorry, $50. The net cost of buying a laptop because you have this become $50. All right, it's a very good deal. A laptop goes all the way down to $50. Okay, so think about this. This is something going to be a big game changer for a lot of people to further their cause. Of course, you must have already contributed a certain criteria to get Skills Future Enterprise credit. Let's move on. Let's talk about Professional Conversion Program, PCP. This has been going on in the industry. If you guys are actively thinking of hiring someone, right, let me talk about this, the PCP program. Okay, the government of Singapore will pay for up to 90% of the salary support. Let me give you an example here. Okay, so here's an example. They'll pay 90%. They'll pay 90% of salary for up to 6 months. Okay, what's the criteria? Must be Singaporean or Singaporean PR. Okay, you must pay some course fee, but it's very worth it. The course fee is $3,000, but you get salary support for 90% for 6 months. Okay, can you also take job support scheme? Yes. So it plus with the job support scheme of 25%. Therefore, if you use this scheme to hire people, it becomes about 115%. Please note that at 111%, you still lose money because CPF is 17%. You actually pay 17%. But this basically allows you to bring in the employee headcount to your organization for the next few months for essentially no cost. So there are many PCP programs. If you have other questions, I can answer you guys later. But this is one way to get support to pay your payroll. Unfortunately, it doesn't apply for existing staff. It needs to be new staff to your organization for this to work because it's about placing displaced workers into the work environment. Okay, so this is something else. Now, let's go through the last part. I want to go through very quickly about the COVID-19 bill and how does it apply to you guys. So we basically have this new government bill. It was passed. It's now in law already. We understand that a lot of businesses are affected. Now, this act, which is a bill or act, right, does not remove obligation. It suspends them. Okay, the suspend is for 6 months. Therefore, you have contracts with people. It's suspended for 6 months, not automatically, but it's suspended for 6 months. Okay, and it might be extended, but it doesn't remove. It doesn't mean that, oh yeah, because of this bill, therefore I no longer have liabilities with people. Doesn't mean that way. It just suspends the liability. Okay. Now the period of time being is this: your contract must be entered into before 25th March. Anything after 25th March, you enter a contract is on your own already because your COVID was already at full blown. Okay. Anything before 25th March is fine. Anything after, the bill does not apply to it. Now, the bill also says that the contract must be starting from 2002 to somewhere. Let's say your contract you enter started on 31st January. Okay, this bill does not apply to you at all. It must be from 1st February all the way to the period of time the government has prescribed, which is currently 6 months. 6 months being all the way till February, March, April, May, June, July. Okay, so it just suspends the period all the way till July, but it can be extended. All right, so far so good. Okay, so this is where you think of your contracts. So what are contracts? Let's go through a few things. Now, those of you who already take loans, secure loans. Secure loans means director's guarantee. Doesn't mean that you go to your Along and you get it. It's only for government secured loans facilities. There can be no enforcement of the security. Okay, and it cannot send you for bankruptcy court. But a few conditions must apply first. So if you have loans today, you must see this. Okay, the lender is a bank. Okay, so if you are a bank, no problem. You are SME, which have more than less than 100 mil and 30% share owned by shareholders, and the loan is secured, okay, against some form of assets. That means that all of these loans, the bank cannot come to you and say, Tauke, give me back your plants or your equipment. They cannot take a lien on your for 6 months, all the way till July so far. Okay, so they cannot come and repossess your assets. These are for secure loans only. Unsecured loans, credit card debts, all as per normal. They can possess your item as per normal. No change in that. Okay, let's talk about you guys. Tourism and related contract. They specifically write it in this way. Okay, example, conference, wedding, unable to proceed. Your deposit cannot be automatically forfeited. All right, I want to stress again now. Just because you collect a deposit and your contract says that in the event of cancellation, I take everything. Unfortunately, it cannot apply to you. You cannot do that because the goal is to protect consumer. Unfortunately and fortunately itself, right? So you cannot be. But there must be fair treatment into expense incurred. If you can tell, let's say you have a conference and the conference really cancelled already, okay, and you collected 30% upfront already, how much money to refund back? Obviously, let's try not to go to the court first. Try to have a peaceful resolution. The law says that you can document your costs, meaning you say, okay, you know what, I already pay Suntec City $3,000. I already pay my MC $2,000 to do some work. Those are already paid. I cannot collect back. So, and then my work, meaning I already spent some effort doing something for the 30%, right? If you can justify and document that part very carefully, you can don't refund that part. But it's all about negotiation. So of course, my advice is before you enter into arbitration, best is to have a very civil discussion about it with your events company or your contractors or your whoever is the one hosting the event, so that you can come to a resolution of it. All right, this is a relief. Last but not least, let's talk about rental. A lot of you guys are in rental property, right? So commercial property leases and rental. So let's say you cannot pay rent. All right, the landlord cannot terminate or kick you out. They cannot go to your property and paste a notice saying that therefore I own your thing. Doesn't matter. It's for 6 months. How long is it until? Once again, until extension is July. That means that all the way from now till July, and you really cannot pay the rental, the landlord cannot come and possess your assets. Okay, obviously, let's not use the law first. Always be able to go to them and ask them civilly about how to pay first. So how can you not perform this? Like, let's say you really cannot pay the rental. You need to serve a notification for relief. How do you serve? Speak to your lawyers. The lawyers are not going to be too expensive now. Serve a notification of relief, and then serve telling this notification of relief. Tell your landlord that, hey, due to the current COVID-19 and because I'm in the event and entertainment industry, I can no longer support my rental. Serve them a notice. State the inability to perform the contract because it's a COVID-19. I think it's more than clear for you guys, okay? Now, if your landlord disagree, he can go to an assessor. Okay, the assessor is like somebody appointed by the court. The assessor, there is no lawyers involved, but the assessor will make an attendant and the decision is final. So basically, you serve the notice saying, I cannot pay rent. Basically, the landlord can say yes or no. They say yes, everybody is good. You pay rent in August, okay? That's all. Nothing changed. But if the landlord says, no, I don't believe you, they will go to an assessor. The assessor will make a decision. Whatever the decision the assessor make is final. The assessor rule in your favor saying that, yes, your events misses, you cannot make money, don't pay rent. The landlord has no power against you for 6 months. I want to stress again that it's a suspension of contract obligation. The landlord is not supposed to charge you interest for the 6 months or late payment fee. Okay, but after July, you still have to pay 6 months of rental. Okay, so obviously don't go into the situation like this first. Try to work out a better way forward. The landlord will have to give you some form of relief, because the 6 month rental is not you don't pay them. You still owe the landlord. It's just that it's suspended for 6 months. Okay, hope this clears the situation up. Okay, so let's say you're a landlord, and you receive a notification, or let's say you are events company and somebody have a contract with you and the event is still proceeding, but they cannot pay you the money. You might be receiving a notification of relief. The events organizer, which is yourself, you are EO, and then let's say agency saying, hey, I cannot pay you, I run out of money. Okay, what can you do? You can then serve them a suspension or enforcement. You cannot do anything. You do need to talk about them and basically make an application against the affected party. My recommendation, try not to enter here. It's a very ugly thing and you want the business relationship. But only if you as an event firm receive a notification of relief because they cannot pay you some form of deposit. Okay? So thank you guys so much. We just nice about 45 minutes of hearing my sharing. I hope this was useful. Let us open up for questions. All of you guys are muted, so you'll not be able to type in, you'll not be able to speak because it's a webinar. But if you guys have questions, please use the Q&A section to type in questions right now. Okay, happy to answer all the questions related to today's sharing, or if it's something else I can answer as well. I hope you find it useful. My name is Ivan. Thank you guys so much. Questions? Okay, Zachary asked me, can I elaborate more on the PCP grant? Okay, so the PCP grant is by Workforce Singapore, WSG. Now, PCP grant is not like you can just take any random person and just say, oh, let me send him for some random course. PCP is a structured program. It's called Professional Conversion Program. So it's a structured thing. There are different PCP for different industry. So one of them that I can talk about is digital marketing. So for example, you want to hire a digital marketer to help you boost your digital marketing sales. So you will go to WSG and say, I want to hire a digital marketer. They will put you in touch with the training vendor, and then you yourself can go and find your trainees, meaning you already identified an employee that you want. So the training company will help you put the person through the program, train the person, and let you hire the person. After he finished the training and after 6 months, you will get back the salary for WSG, 90% of the salary after 6 months of the period itself, because they want you to be able to continue hiring the person as well. There are many PCP, digital marketing, digital sales, computer science, so many different programs. So go to WSG website and check out the different programs available. But that's how the PCP grant works. All right, hope that helps, Zachary. Any other question, guys? Welcome, Zachary. Jasper asked me, we are events company, supposed to refund clients if they pay us deposit and wanted to cancel the event due to COVID-19, even if we allowed them to postpone with additional charges. I think that is a very complex legal question. By the way, I'm not a lawyer, so I cannot speak on the legality of it. I suggest you talk to a law firm to talk about this. I can recommend you to a few of my friends who are more than happy to give you some form of free consultation. Just send me an email after this is over. You will have my email when you get the slides. But basically, based on a very cursory reading, yes, that means it is. You giving people the option to postpone is not part of the COVID-19 bill. All right, it is the COVID-19 bill suspends the liability. So you giving people the option to do other things like postpone the event, suspension of it is not what it is. The client, let's say you are a wedding, let's just use a wedding, and you're a JW Marriott or a company like this, and the client say, I really want back my money. Okay, I really want back. I don't care about postponement. I don't care about anything. I really want back the money. What they will do is they will serve you a notification of relief, which is the one I talked to you guys just now. And then once that happens, right, you will have to honor it because the bill allows for it. So try to avoid that situation. You giving them option to postpone is not covered under the COVID-19 bill. All right, hope that helps. Speak to a lawyer for further clarity. But yeah, you giving option is no rationality. The client can still ask you back for the deposit. But the bill also says that you don't have to give back the full deposit. You can give them an itemized bill of what you already spent so far for the event. You know what I mean? Your own timing, like your own manpower cost, your own production cost, as a way to relieve of your own deposit, so you can pay them back a smaller sum of deposit. Okay, hope that helps. Ben asked me, what period does the bill cover? Contracts from April onwards or from December 2019? Let me open back the slides here. I want to be very clear here. Yeah, the bill covers a very specific period of time. The contract must be signed. The contract must be signed before 25th March, meaning you must already have the contracts in place before 25th March. Anything of the contract signed when you sign a contract after 25th March does not cover. Okay, but the obligation, meaning when you sign a rental agreement in 1st January, for example, but the rental only starts on 1st March. It covers. Okay, so it's two different components altogether. It must be very clear. So you must sign the contract before 25th March dated, but the obligation, meaning when you start performing contract, can be between 1st Feb all the way till 30th July as of 30th July as of current time. Okay, so that's where the bill covers for now. The contract obligation, meaning for you as an event firm, you sign a contract before 25th March, but the event is somewhere between 1st Feb to 30th July. Events outside of 30th July does not cover. Anything before 1st Feb, don't need worry, already over already, right? But for events that's already happening in say 1st August, is still not covered by the bill. That means that events as per normal proceed going ahead. You don't have to refund the customer because the customer is out of the COVID-19 bill. Hope that helps, Ben. Okay. Let me clear this. Mouse done. Jessica asked me a next question. Can I elaborate more on SFEC? We just purchased a laptop for one employee. Can we claim back 80% and 90%? How can we apply? There are a bunch of situations involved here. So for Jessica, right, it's a bit more complicated than that. First thing first, if you already bought the laptop yourself, you already bought a laptop, meaning you go to Challenger and buy the laptop. sorry, it doesn't apply. It is, sorry, let me go to the correct slide. The productivity solution grant is based on prescribed vendors. That means that you must already buy from a current vendor on the website. You go to SME Go Digital website or techdepot.com, they will give you a list of vendors. You must buy from the vendor there. You cannot just go and go Cops or Lazada and buy yourself. It doesn't apply that way. So this is the step. Okay, first thing first, if you really need this, I recommend you refund the laptop back to the thing lah. Okay, first thing is this: you go to the vendor. So the vendor, one of them is Singtel. You tell Singtel, hey, I want to buy a laptop from you guys. Then Singtel say, okay, sure. Now step one done. Then go to apply to the website. Okay, go apply on the businessgrantportal.gov.sg. Then 3 weeks later, you get approval from the government of Singapore. Then you pay Singtel the $4,000 to buy a laptop. Then the laptop come back to you. Then 6 weeks later, you get back 80% from the government of Singapore. And then with that invoice, you further go to SFEC website to claim. The SFEC part is not very clear yet because the process is rushed out very urgently in the government of Singapore eyes. So it's not really very clear yet. They are still running it on email. So a lot of things is not known yet. But for the PSG, which is the 80%, you need to go through step by step. So if you buy from Lazada or from Cost or anybody else, sorry, Jessica, it doesn't apply to you. Okay. The website, okay. Ben asked me what's the website. The website is just go into Go Digital, go and search SME Go Digital. I'll send you guys a link in the post email survey later. Okay. Robin asked me, am I able to play back the first part later? Yes, I have a recording of this for you guys after this session is over. Okay, 5 more minutes, guys. Any other question that I can support you guys with? Happy to take any more question. I hope it was useful for you guys. Signing for you again, do consider attending the course. Irene raised her hand. Let me unmute Irene and see what she has to say. Yo, Irene, you are open. You want to say something? Okay, she knew herself. Let me unmute her. Hey, Harry.
I just wanted to say I made it on time to your last 5 minutes.
Oh,
thank you so much for doing this for the industry. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, my pleasure, Irene. I hope it was useful for you guys.
I'm very sure it is. I'll watch your repeat.
I'll pass you a repeat later. Thanks, Irene. Thanks, Irene. I'll mute you first. Thanks for the kind words. I will raise down the lower hands. Ben, I will summarize and send out to you for Vetru later. Yeah, sure. Let me know. I will be able to think. Okay. Happy to look through the vetting if you guys are going to type out all these notes as well. Any other question, guys? Else? Okay. Ben asked me another question. SFEC apply only after PSG approval, right? Yes, it needs to go through the process one by one. You need to first get PSG approval first for anything you want to buy, including your hardware, and then after that, then apply for the SFEC coverage itself. I also want to remind you that SFEC only applies if you have about 5 employees last year, meaning you already pay CPF for 5. There's some form of qualification. All the small SME will not apply for this. Yeah, thanks. Jasper, my pleasure as always. Answer live, thank you. Yes, SFEC, again to Ben, only applies to 5 employees. The exact one is based on how much SDL, Skills Development Levy, you contribute lah. But aggregation is about 5 lah. So to know whether you qualify for SFEC, drop them an email before you do anything. Say, hey, my company UEN is this. Do I qualify for SFEC? Okay. Any other questions, guys? We can take 1 or 2 more. Happy to chat with you guys. If you guys raise your hand. Adrian asked me to share more about my course. Okay, sure. Thanks so much. I think this course, this special course, right? This special course that SMU Academy and myself design is really about business strategy lah. I honestly tell you there's no silver bullet lah. We did it for the F&B industry where we help them. So we're doing this course for different industries. We run it for F&B and we run it for tuition. The needs are very different. For the tuition industry, what we did was help them go digital lah. Like things like, how do you teach students, especially little kids online? How do you do fitness class online? How do you use Zoom? For the F&B industry, is about how do you survive in terms of like the amount of money. How do you survive in terms of sorry, let me just close this. No, cancel. How do you survive in terms of moving it up and down, and how do you basically do technical trainings? So I think for the for the events industry is really about brainstorming solution together and giving you guys an understanding of whether the Chinese market will rebound, how to do digital marketing, doing digital events with some of my friends who are from the digital world talking about it. So it's not going to be a very in-depth course, but it's something to take your time away from the current situation and think about more things, and of course more opportunity to ask different trainers about all of these financial measures and how to conduct events online. So business model as well. How do you survive in a new economy? Like, we go through business model canvas, work together and see how we can build a canvas that make more sense for everyone. All right, guys, any other question? Final question or final 2 questions. Let me type out my email here as well in case you guys need my email, because I know some of you guys, I know you guys have dropped me a lot of emails already. I will answer them today because I've been a bit busy. Happy to answer all your emails for you guys. Any other question, guys? Hope you guys was useful. I will share for this, yeah. Ben, what do you mean by PCP? Yeah. What do you need about PCP? I need you to, Ben asked me, okay, final question. Ben asked me something about PCP. Okay, I need you to elaborate. Like, what are you confused about PCP about? No, Ben, once again, okay, so Ben question is this, PCP only meant for digital-based scope? No, it's not. Maybe let me just stop sharing and let me go to the PCP website. 1 second, let me go to the PCP website and then show you guys, okay? Let me open it. PCP website. Here we go. I'm going to share my screen now. Okay. Share screen. Here we go. So here are the list of different PCP solutions they have. Of course, you guys are not all of this are financial sector, blah, 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 right? So I think let's filter to retail. Retail people might be you guys. Do I have events here? Maybe education, probably for you guys. Marketing. Okay, so here are the different things. So within your area, you can do a PCP for digital operation talent, digital professional, new media professional, many different type of PCP available lah. Just go to this website, just Google PCP lah, and then look at it. So if you are interested, then when you click on each of this link here, what happens is that they will be brought to the company itself, and then who is the training provider. So for example, in this retail operation talent, right, it is conducted by, let me see, by SF Institute. So different PCP are run by different training providers. You call them and they will give you the process forward already. But the scheme is always the same. You pay training fee plus 90% plus 10% of the staff salary for 6 months. The whole scheme generally runs the same way for every of the scenario available for PCP lah. So nothing much to worry about. It's generally the same. Okay. Hope that helps. Many of it available. All right. So guys, thank you so much. Drop me an email if you need anything. It's 1:30 already. Have a good lunch. Once again, my appreciation. Thank you so much. Help me. After this, you guys will be given the survey link. Please help me fill up. Because we are stronger together. The government need to know that you guys are suffering. They do not know that you are suffering. So please help finish the survey link later. Okay, thank you. Bye guys, I'll end the sharing and I'll send you guys an email once the sharing is available for viewing online. Okay, thank you so much guys. Goodbye.